Please give him a warm and welcome Henry Schreiber.
I've always found high school to be a deeply profound exploration into the modern human experience. I took that from Bikram scenery poster. It sounded deep. When I first found out that I had been voted to deliver the speech, I was surprised. I've run for prefect the past 2 years, and no one's ever voted for me then. I'm here today to address all of you, and to stand at this podium like past great Latin speakers such as Kip Holbeck. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. Nor will I pull a Soraya Darabi and speak to you like we're instant messaging. She's the only person I've ever met who speaks like that IRL. For all the parents who aren't hip to what the kids are saying these days, IRL stands for in real life. Yes, the world is becoming a very sad place to live. Maybe it would have been for the best if the world had ended last Saturday. If your parents only knew the way in which high school girls talk on Facebook when they comment on each other's profile pictures. With all the exclamation points and extra letters, it is as if they are shouting their comments while base jumping off a cliff. Wow, you look so gorgeous! Munchson? Okay. Please don't yell at me, Law. I'm sure it's not just girls. I'm sure if David Netzel had a Facebook, he'd comment the same way. This is actually my second time giving a speech like this, as I gave the Class Day speech in middle school as well. For those who either weren't there or simply too drunk to remember. Mom! It was a bit of a discombobulated affair. I remember at the front there was a table with all our diplomas neatly arranged in alphabetical order. And on my way up to give my speech, I don't know if it's just because I was so nervous or I was an awkward, lanky, puberty-ridden little boy, but I slammed my knee into the table and knocked dozens of diplomas to the ground. Mr. Furkey was standing at the table and said to me through a tight smile, "I can't believe you just did that." This was ironic because those were the exact words I was thinking after he concluded his farewell speech to us. A farewell speech that spent 10 minutes comparing our grade to the ingredients panel on a box of Girl Scout cookies. A box of cookies he admitted to having found that morning. Well, it made me think if the Latin middle school could be put on the side of a box, what would its side panel read? And hopefully nothing about high fructose corn syrup. So inspiring. I didn't think the day would come when I would rather Fergie just read us a poem. But after we had finished with that assembly, one that truly put the class in Class Day, we all began our journey into high school, a journey that would prove to be more bruising and emotionally scarring than we ever could have imagined. For many of us, freshman year was a year marked by the arrival of new faces, as our grades swelled from around 80 kids to over 120. We had kids from St. Clements, we had kids from Francis Xavier Ward near North Montessori. We had some new kids from Ancient, who were offset nicely by the kids from Sacred Heart. And then there were the badass, really cool new kids who canceled out the boys from City Day. It was a brand new school to some, but it was a whole new environment to all. Now, some people might have felt uneasy about the idea of going to a school designed by the same guy who designs prisons, and where the alma mater song sounds like it's straight out of a funeral. Not me. Freshman year was a year I believed I could do no wrong. Every day I'd burst through the front doors brimming with confidence and talk with my teachers as peers about future scholarly pursuits. Once I walked up to Mr. Choi, patted him square on the back, and I brought up an interesting idea I had about melting a piece of ice to predict the exact year the polar bears would become extinct. I'll never forget what Choi said to me. Choi said, "Who are you? Don't touch me." So yes, freshman year was a year that knocked me down the peg quite a bit. But much like a phoenix rising from its own ashes, I was forced to pick myself up, dust myself up, roll up my sleeves, perform another tired metaphor, and start sophomore year. Sophomore year was the year I contemplated quitting Mr. Teal's band, but I stayed in it because I didn't want to wake up one morning and find my dog's severed head. Calm down, Taylor Pentagon, it's a joke. In addition to band, I took English 10 and met my fellow speaker, Miss Hennessy, for the first time. What a gal. Give it up for Miss Hennessy. It was 10th grade when I found out that she lived literally 2 houses down from me. I didn't find this out through anything creepy or stalkers, like hiding in her office until she went home and then sitting behind her on the bus waiting to see where she'd get off. Because that didn't work, but I found out by coincidence the night of the prom. Now, in 10th grade, I wasn't fortunate enough to be one of those smug sophomores to get asked to prom. Grace Brant. So that night, I was minding my own business, outside, walking my dog in the neighbor's lawn, casually for him to pick up his business. And the car pulled up beside me with 2 strange men yelling, "Hey, Schreiber! Schreiber!" First I thought I was going to get mugged. But the men in the car turned out to be Mr. Bear and Mr. Witness picking up Miss Hennessy for the prom. When she came down, the 3 asked me why I wasn't going to prom. I told them no one had asked me, and then they sped off laughing. So yes, sophomore year was a bit bumpy as well. But then came junior year, a year marked by change. No longer little kids, we were thrust into the realm of upperclassmen like, well, Bear wouldn't let me finish the analogy. It was a year when the school switched from Edline to Romanet, major change, and replaced all of its paper signs with flat-screen TVs, which is just such a Latin thing to do. Perhaps the most dramatic change was the change in our focus, as we all now began to direct our attention to the college process, highlighted by a new class added to our schedule, college counseling. Now, I'll be honest, when I first started these classes, I didn't know much about the college process. I knew I was interested in becoming an engineer, not with like math or computers or anything, just driving trains, really. And I knew from that point on I could always walk into the college counseling office and be greeted by the 2 vibrant women who are in there every day, all day. April and Asa. One thing I knew for sure was that I did not want to be one of those juniors who spent all his time padding his resume solely for the sake of impressing colleges. Soon after, I helped found Rogue, an independent magazine with a lifespan of about 2.5 issues that might go down as the lamest and most transparent attempt at an extracurricular in the history of the school. Honestly, I've never seen anything as pathetic as Rogue. I think the only person who read our magazines was Mr. Phipps, and that was either out of pity or because we put photos of babes in bikinis next to the walls. What a mess. But after what has been a long journey, we finally made it. I think I can speak for everyone when I say that when the year began, we truly felt this was going to be our year. I know I did. I decided that I was through with all the curveballs thrown at me. I decided that I was done making missteps and being embarrassed. Then I lost to William Pritzker in a game of one-on-one. Which is about as low as your self-esteem can go. For the most part, this year has been a great success for the entire class of 2011. As a class, college-wise, we did tremendously well. We set the bar pretty high in 2012. We're sending kids all over the map, to the East Coast, to the West Coast, to Canada, and to the land where the grass is green and the biddies run. So says my colleague Josh J. Money. Honestly, I think it's our responsibility to pay our respects and give thanks to the ones who taught us everything we know, the people who are truly invaluable to our collegiate successes. Matthew, Tim, Prescott, and all the other tutors at Academic. Don't forget those guys. I've joked about the school a lot today. I made a few off-color remarks, and I hope no one is offended. Because the truth is, I've loved this place. Being here for the past 14 years has been an incredible experience, and I chalk that up to the amazing faculty and staff we have at this school, as well as the students. I've always thought that Ladin was like the perfect boy band. A bunch of people dressed in extravagant clothing, all who have distinct individual personalities, yet are able to harmonize and mesh well with one another and work together to reach new heights of success. The only part where this stunning analogy begins to fall apart is that typically boy bands are comprised of a bunch of tools. We are not a school filled with tools. That's Parker. Thank you.